Hello, and welcome to the Otaku Oasis podcast. This is the second episode on My Hero Academia, where we are covering chapters 12 through 21 of the manga and episodes 9 through 13 of the first season of the anime. I am your host, Joshua, and I'm here with my co host, Matthew.
Hello.
And so, with the introductions out of the way, do we want to just hop right into it?
Go for it.
All right. So we start with the with the like the news media in front of the school, and they're like interviewing the students about All Might being at the school, and it's getting a bit invasive, and so the like the teachers like block them off and whatnot.
Mhm.
So do you have any thoughts on like the media for this world?
Do not like it. I don't like how I mean, it felt like the hero version of TMZ and the paparazzi, which I hate in real life. So already off to
Yeah,
a bad start.
yeah, and I mean we'll see later on how the media can be used to spin things in different ways.
Definitely. Dobby.
Yeah. And so then we move into the classroom for the day, and Aizawa is basically like, "Hey, elect a class president." And so they all put it up to a vote for in which everyone gets one vote except for Yayurozu, Deku, Ochako, and Ida, for in which Deku gets three and Yayurozu gets. Oh, wait, I believe Todoroki didn't have one as well. Is that right?
I don't remember. Yeah, Todoroki gave Momo the second vote.
Yeah, I'm like, I believe it was Todoroki who gave Momo the second vote. And then Ida and Ochako gave Deku their vote.
Nice.
From which from which I do think like kind of at this point shows like Deku's like influence on others, I think.
I really gotta wonder the culture shock Midori is going through from going to having no real friends to having two really great friends, even though I've seen an argument that Ida's kind of a bad person for only wanting to be friends with Midoriya after realizing he can learn from him. But that's not a topic that I don't feel that's not a topic I fully understand, so I don't feel like going into it.
I don't really agree with that either. Like
Yeah, neither
I
did
mean it's
I. I just
like
saw
brought
that
up
argument.
it's brought up later in this chapter too, like just like what Ida sees in like Deku, but
Yeah,
also what Deku sees in Ida.
exactly. But you gotta wonder what's going through that poor boy's head when he realizes he has friends for once.
Yeah, yeah, and so it's definitely an interesting thing, and I think it does maybe show that like Deku kind of has an inherent ability to lead, just not in like the like stereotypical way that
I've
like
seen
you'd imagine
arguments
a
that
leader to
he
be.
only really shows his leadership skills in battle,
Yeah,
which I
especially when it
wonder
comes to like saving people.
exactly. I wonder where that comes from.
I mean, I assume it comes from like his influence to be like All Might, but I mean,
Well, just
that's
the
all.
fact that only being able to lead during battle, I wonder what causes that.
No, I mean, I don't know. I mean, 10 situations may be a part of it as well.
Yeah, that's true.
And so after that, they basically elect Deku and Yaoyorozu as the class president, vice class president, and they go off to lunch where Deku starts talking with Ida and Ochako, and we get a little bit of insight into like Ida's lineage with the it's called the Ingenium agency, right?
Ingenium. I've
Ingenium.
also heard it called the Edaton agency. I don't know. I don't fully know what it is. But
Okay, but
his older brother is Ingenium.
yeah, and so we get like basically how it's been like a big thing, like and how their quirks are quite similar throughout their family line, as well as just them inheriting the hero company, I think, as well.
Yes, so it gets passed down.
Yeah, and so and it's a bit funny because like Deku kind of nerds out about knowing all this stuff, like the 60 sidekicks fact.
Which You know, we can cover it later, but I wonder if it's that 60 sidekick that got Ingenium where he ended up being.
Yeah, it's definitely something to maybe go a bit in depth into in 2 arcs from now.
Yeah, I wonder if that's what caused it.
Yeah. And so basically during while this is all happening, the media breaks in through a unknown means, at least at this point.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I think
and
before
so
this we see a hooded figure staring at the gates, and the next time we see anything about the media, it's been they're on campus.
yeah, but we don't know who the hooded figure is
Exactly. Yet.
yet. And so basically everyone's in a panic, and Ida in this situation steps up to help like guide the students to be in a manner that's fitting of UA, but also it helps contain the chaos that was erupting from the media barging in.
I do really find it funny how when we go to President Mike and Aizawa's point of view during this, President Mike's just suggesting, why don't we just use our quirks and blast the media out of here?
Yeah, yeah, the teachers do like consider using force against the media, which was pretty funny.
You know, sometimes the media deserves it.
Yeah, but also another funny thing would be Ida's just pose above the exit sign.
That,
Just
you know,
the way.
it is funny. What do they call him? Emergency exit Ida?
Yeah, yeah, because he looks exactly like the emergency exit sign.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. It was pretty like ingenious that he thought of in that second to have Ochako use her quirk to put Ida up there in order to get
I
everyone's
mean,
attention.
he's one of the smartest kids in the class for a reason.
True, true. It's just being able to think of something like that in a split second while chaos is going around is pretty admirable.
That it is.
And that's and basically because of that, he inspires 1A to basically elect Ida as the class president, and that's pretty much
Yes.
where that small one chapter thing that is not connected to the rest of this arc is
Well, we
done.
have to have our filler somehow.
I mean, it's not like bad filler. It's
No, it's
it's
not.
early it's early characterization more of I
Yeah,
feel because like
it's character
especially
building.
because I do believe like Horikoshi was trying to build up like because he had built up basically Ochako a little bit at this point just from like the encounters that she's had with Deku in a friendly light, but we hadn't had the same with Ida yet for Deku. So
Yeah.
basically, this is
Quick question. When do we find out Ochako's motives? I can't remember for being a hero.
it's in the next arc, the school festival arc, or not
Okay,
the school
cool.
festival arc, the sports.
Sports festival.
Yeah, sports festival. School festival is an entirely different thing.
Yeah, but they sound really similar.
Oh, I know they sound very similar. That's why it's confusing the naming scheme.
Yeah, I remember before I'd gotten there and I was reading up on this My Hero stuff, I always get confused with the difference.
Yeah, it's like a I believe they even in the show it's like it's said that it's like a normal like Japanese school thing.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it's for the non-hero kids. The hero kids get the sports festival, and everyone else gets the school festival.
Yeah, well, I just mean also like just in regular Japanese school culture, there is a sports festival and a school festival
Oh,
take
really?
place.
I didn't know that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. So they have the sports festival usually in like I think it's like the latest springtime, and then the school festival is in the autumn time.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. And so then we start getting into the USJ arc, which opens on All Might going around, like on his way to work, basically on from his like workout routine, just saving some people from just some low villains and whatnot, pretty simply. But he remarks basically once he gets to UA that his limits seem to be shortening since passing on One for All.
I'd like to point out just how much of a horrible teacher All Might is. Like,
Yeah, I mean, he's good in like at least when it's like one-on-one mentoring, but
Like,
overall
it's his
teaching a class,
job.
I don't think he can manage a full class that well.
He can barely teach Midoriya. No, my issue is that it's his job to be there for the students, and yet we never see him taking the time to actually be there. He's always spending his time doing other things.
Yeah, well, and I don't know. Maybe it's just because it's because of his symbol of peace status that has to keep him kind of hid in a way.
It is, but I mean, the media would understood if he just retired. And no, I guess he makes the argument that he needs to be the symbol of peace. But was he expecting to hold out until Midoriya graduated? That's 3 years, and he was already shortening his time span.
Yeah, not to mention his wound already had shortened that time massively as well.
Yeah, I wonder how much that debuffed it at the start, and like how long it took him to get where he was now. Because what, it's been 5, 6 years.
Since that injury, I believe so, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Because, yeah, and that's like one thing that we don't know is like how much All Might compared to his prime to when we meet him has he been debuffed because of that injury.
oh my land. Yeah, he mentions later on in this arc that he could have defeated an enemy with 6 punches in his prime, but it took over 3,000.
300, but yeah.
300, close enough.
Just added 1 0, but it's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. I bet All Might in his prime was ridiculous. I wish we eventually get to see the All Might and All for One fight, like the original one, which ended with
Yeah,
All for One's face smashed in and All Might losing a stomach.
I do think it would be a good flashback to put like before the final showdown.
Yes, because I'm curious how that went down. How did All Might walk away from that body and never made sure it was dead?
Yeah,
Also, are heroes
that's
allowed to kill and get away with it?
by the by the sounds of it, especially like with some events later on, I don't think so.
All Might was fighting to kill in that, which granted he had to.
Yeah, but I mean, even so, All for One is just one durable person.
Yeah, so but he expected All for One to be dead. Like he was okay that he killed All for One.
Yeah, though I mean, it didn't exactly end up that way, and
Oh, it
thus
did
the
not.
story continues.
Yeah,
I do think you would have maybe seen like some like backlash from that potentially, but I don't know. I don't like because we don't exactly know how like at least not fully how All for One was when All Might was building up to the symbol of peace.
exactly.
Like we don't know exactly how All for One was viewed by society.
Yeah. I don't think the society knew about All for One. I think he was like the boogeyman in the underworld.
Yeah, maybe he could have been just like a mastermind sort.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason that he calls himself the symbol of evil or whatever.
Yeah, well, I mean, also his quirk is basically just perfect for masterminding stuff.
Exactly. So, yeah. Okay, where were we at?
Um, well, we were just about to hop into basically them going to the unforeseen situation joint or the USJ for their safety
Oh,
tests.
I heard it was simulation joint.
I said simulation joint.
I think it's situation.
And I may have misworded myself, but
Who knows?
they so when what is it 13 their name.
13, yeah, 13's their name. Also,
Yeah.
they're non-binary, right?
Yeah, I don't know what gender they are, so I'm just gonna say they.
Yeah, I am 98% sure that it's been confirmed they're non-binary.
Yeah. I wouldn't know, so um and so basically they are explaining the place on just like how the whole drill is going to go and how big the place is, for which they kind of make a joke that it really is USJ, but that USJ I think that they're referring to as a joke is Universal Studios of Japan,
Yep.
which can also be abbreviated as USJ.
Actually, before we continue into next, on the way to the USJ, I thought, at least in the anime, I thought it was hilarious. Bakugo gets bullied by his classmates, and you see Midoriya's brain just shut down trying to process what's happening.
Oh yeah, there is that like small scene. It wasn't like too much there, other
It's
than
nothing
just like
important. It's just funny how Midoriya's like, what is going on? Why isn't he killing them?
yeah. I mean, also I believe there's a few like Mineta moments that we could just skip over because
If
Mineta
we could skip
is
Mineta as a
Mineta.
character, I'd be fine with that, but he is kind of important to this coming part.
Yeah, he only has like 2 moments at most, at least. So, and so basically they were about to start the drill, and then we get the not yet named League of Villains come in,
Yes, the League of Villains.
which doesn't get name dropped. I don't think until like the end of this arc.
Fair enough.
But basically, I forget. It was 13 was the one who scattered them all, right?
No, Kurogiri did.
Oh, Kurogiri. Okay, I was forgetting which of the two it was. I know it was like either Kurogiri or 13. I could not remember which.
Actually, I got a question. They find out that they can't call back to UA, and Aizawa tells Kaminari to try and communicate with his quirk. What about his quirk would be able to do that?
I mean, I assume probably just something with being able to mess with the currents in some way.
So, like electrical waves in the air? Maybe, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Every time I see that line, I get really confused as to what they're trying to get at.
Yeah. I don't remember if that was in the manga or not, but I don't think it was, but maybe it was. It might have been just like a small line.
Yeah.
But yeah, read the manga officially this week on Viz.com. You can do it up with their Shonen Jump program for only $2. Not a sponsorship, just a recommendation.
Wait, so Viz Media, you have to pay for the older mangas in Viz Media?
Yeah, but it's only like $2 a month. It's not that bad.
It's not horrible, but yeah.
And they have a large catalog too,
True.
so
Do it the legal way, folks.
yeah, just better to do it the legal way. At
Exactly.
least with those properties. Some other properties are a bit harder to obtain. And so basically, when separated into groups, we follow. At least first, we follow Deku, Asui, and Mineta's group as they land in like the water swampish type area.
Yeah. I had a question. How many villains do you think the unnamed Shigaraki brought for this attack?
Um, that is a good question. I know we at least see like about like maybe like 8, I think, but there were probably a lot more considering how scattered out everyone was.
I gotta say, at least 100, maybe 200. Just how many people there were, because you had all of the ones Eraserhead had to fight, and then you had all of the ones each kid had to fight.
Yeah, I mean, like, and the ones that the teachers had to fight at the end. I
Exactly. There
mean,
had to have been
granted, a lot of them were just lowly criminals, but
yeah.
still,
There had to have been at least 100.
yeah. Like, if the teachers were needed to be brought in to clean it up towards the end, then there definitely was quite a lot there.
Exactly.
And so like we get a fight with Midoriya, Asui, and Mineta against like I think like 3 different villains.
Well, there's a bunch in the water, but depending on what you're asking about.
Yeah, there was like one in the water, and then I think there was like 2 on the ship at one
Oh,
point.
I didn't see any on the ship in the anime.
Maybe I'm just misremembering, but I know there was at least one in the water, and I think there may have been 2 more that were stuck in like a whirlpool caused by Midoriya doing like his finger
Yeah,
flick smash.
yeah. At the very end of the boat scene, Midoriya leaps into the air and just the finger flick, and then Mineta throws his balls in there. But there's at least 10 or 20 people in that got caught in that.
Yeah, probably. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's not a lot to talk about here per se for fights. It's just these
I
stuff would
mean,
be small
how
ones.
did Hagakure not get destroyed by Todoroki when he froze everyone? When he froze everyone, because like, where was she?
It's said later on that she was in the area that Todoroki was in, and yeah, it's just still one of the big questions today, and that's why there was a lot of fan theories around her being the traitor.
I have seen that her and Kaminari could both be traitors, and I don't really get it. I mean, like Hagakure's I kind of get, but Kaminari not really.
Yeah, I didn't get Kaminari's, and basically that theory was dead in the water by time the most current arc that just finished rolled around.
Yeah. I think the real story,
Um,
but if I remember correctly, in an interview, Horikoshi said that there is no traitor because he forgot that he had set up that plot point.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I don't
It's
know.
hard to keep track of a lot of things. I
Yeah.
mean, I think the only reason that Eiichiro Oda, the author of One Piece, is able to keep track of all his stuff is because he's written it down in notebooks.
I just remember one of my friends was telling me last night that one of you know what, I can't even remember. There was some manga author that died, and the story's never going to get finished. That died.
Yeah, the Kentaro Misura, not Misura, Miura, the author of Berserk, passed
Was there?
away
That
on
was right.
May 6th.
That's really sad.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I don't know. There are people speculating that he may have had some stuff kept away, but that's just speculation on people's parts. So yeah, I don't know. It is definitely unfortunate though if Berserk is unable to be finished.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of people are fearing Hunter x Hunter may turn out the same way because of the author for that one, Togashi, is constantly in like a lot of pains as well.
Oh, that's no good.
Yeah, yeah, I'm hoping for the best, but yeah, it's definitely unfortunate.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Um, and so basically, to get back to the plot, basically Midoriya, Asui, and Mineta make it. I believe they make it back to the to like the main group towards the entrance with like the rest of
Actually,
them.
they go to the center plaza to go see Aizawa. We'll see how he's doing.
Or was it the Center Plaza?
Yep, they go. They don't. They were
Oh
gonna
yeah,
go to the
yeah, yeah.
group, but they had to go check out Aizawa, make sure he was doing all right, because Midori got concerned about his fighting style.
Yeah, they were both pretty close. So I think that's just where my confusion came in.
Yeah.
Just looking at the map that they have that they
Isn't
showed, like
this about the time that um Aizawa gets his face stepped in?
I forget if it was now or around like when All Might comes
I think
in.
it's about now because Aizawa's getting the snot beat out of him when Shigaraki lunges at Asui and prevents him from using his quirk with Erasure.
Yeah, yeah. I think like
So it's right about now.
yeah,
I think as they're showing up, Shigaraki is like sixth the Nomu on him.
yeah, and then we just kind of cut away for a little bit. I
Yeah, we
believe
cut
we
away
get
after we see the goggles get shattered and blood going everywhere. Which, what a way to
yeah.
end that scene.
Yeah, and we cut away to I believe it's Todoroki first.
I don't remember. All I know is that Todoroki seems by himself and is kicking ass.
Yeah, I
Bakugo and
believe he just
Kirishima,
yeah, Todoroki just freezes I think like all of his enemies in an instant.
which is why I'm confused where Hagakure was, because how did she not get frozen too?
Yeah, I'm like I think he froze like nearly the entire area that he was in, like that landslide zone.
Mm. And when
Yeah,
it's
I
and then I know we have Bakugo and Kirishima.
we before that though we have the Yayurozu, Jiro, and Kaminari fight.
Yes, which I find funny that she literally kicks Kaminari in the butt to make him go be a human taser.
Yeah. And we get introduced to the running gag of when Kaminari overcharges himself. Yeah, that. Oh, the joke is so simple, yet I still find it funny every single time it
It's
happens.
hilarious. No, I think it's hilarious. Trying to
And
remember
I
all the
also think,
groupings in general, because don't we also have a grouping with Ojiro and uh, Fumikage?
um, I think, yeah, yeah, it's not like
Okay,
shown. It's not shown for
Yami, that's
long.
his name.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I like
but
how I remembered his first name instead of his last name, except the last name's the one they use the most.
yeah, yeah, I believe they just briefly go over that in the manga. I think they may have slightly extended that scene in the anime.
I think there may have just been a flash of them. I don't remember most of it. It's been like almost a week and a half since I've seen it.
Mm, yeah. Um, Otherwise, just commenting on the Yayoro Jiro and Kaminari fight, I do think it was interesting how like Jiro came up with like the idea to use Kaminari, and then Yayorozu then you making the what was it like? It was something that was electric resistant, like
Some
sort of
some
sheet.
some millimeter thick sheet of whatever that electricity could get through, so he could go full out.
Yeah, yeah, but it was pretty quick thinking.
Yeah, well, Momo has to be one of the most like chemically intelligent people in the class.
Yeah, I believe this is also where we get first introduced to Yayorozu's quirk creation. So,
That and Yura's quirk of sound waves, or what was her quirk again?
the earphone jack thing, I
Yeah,
believe. Yeah,
I
it's
remember
part.
that. I just
It's like
remember couldn't.
it's the sound. I believe it can like detect sound waves, but I believe it can also pulse sound waves into the ground
Yeah, if
or
she
like
plugs it into
whatever.
her, if she plugs it into
What?
her boots, it'll shoot out massive
Yeah,
sound waves. And she can hear well, right? Like she can hear really well.
yeah, she can hear really well.
How does her own attack not destroy her own eardrums?
I don't know, maybe just because it's like basically her own quirk.
Maybe.
Yeah. Um, but there was that, and then I believe let's see, because there was that, and then I believe we flash over quickly to 13 ordering Ida to go
Run
notify
away.
staff.
Yes. Yeah.
And we get a little bit of a short fight scene with Ochako, Ashido, and Seto clearing the way for him.
Yeah, I really like that. Plus, I think Sugar Rush, whose name I forgotten again, Sato.
Sato.
Yeah, Sato, Sero. They all help get Kurogiri out of the way so Ida can run away.
Mm-hmm. Was it Sero? I
Sero's in there
miswrote it
too.
as Seto.
Yeah,
I
it's Sero.
miswrote Sero's name as Seto.
I mean, you're close. It's Hanta Sero, so you mix the last second to last letters.
Yeah, I think that's what happened. Uh, and then the final one that we flash over is Bakugo and Kirishima after they already finished off their after their villains, and Kirishima gets a bit of a admiration, I think, a little bit towards Bakugo for
I
how he
really
goes
like
about
in the
fighting.
anime, at least, we see like they're done fighting, and then some guy with an invisibility quirk tries getting the jump on Bakugo, and he just like not even looking at him, grabs him and blows him up.
Yeah, I mean there are definitely like just some places where like the anime definitely adds like how powerful Bakugo can be.
Yeah, like I may not like him, but that was a pretty cool scene.
Yeah. Um and that was basically all the group flashes that we get throughout this,
Yeah, I think there
or
was
which
like at
we
least one or two more zones, but I can't remember, so I can't tell.
yeah, there were like two other zones, but I don't think we like really get like a good idea of them at least. I think they were just kind of flashed over, so
Yeah.
and so then we flash back to the main conflict where the unnamed Shigaraki starts explaining Nomu.
While he's crushing and breaking Aizawa's bones like they're twigs.
Yep. And I forget if Aizawa inflicts any damage on the Nomu just yet.
Not at all.
Yeah, okay. I'm like, I don't think it's until All Might shows up that we start seeing damage on Nomu, for which we get the
Exactly.
explanation of some other stuff that Nomu has, including his regenerative properties.
Regenerative? I don't know.
Yeah, regenerative. I think that's how you pronounce it.
And shock absorption. Or was it? It was
Yeah.
absorption, not nullification specifically.
Uh, yeah, it was absorption because like it would still take damage just to a lesser extent.
Yes.
And so we get the All Might versus Nomu fight, which is really well
Oh, well,
animated in
hold
the
on. We
anime.
gotta address the fact that Shigaraki tried murdering Such, which Midoriya tried murdering Shigaraki.
Yeah, I mean, it
Which,
was really a
oh,
close save by Aizawa on that one.
so did Aizawa erase Midoriya's quirk, or did Midoriya actually use 100% for a second?
Um, I don't know if because I thought Aizawa can only erase one quirk at a time.
I think he can. So Midoriya happened to use 100% without damage for 1 second. Which
Maybe
I,
it's either that or like
the shock absorption of the punch just kept him from injuring himself.
it's either that or because of how close Shigaraki was to use his quirk, and nullifying it may have nullified the effect of it, but without doing the full thing
I
because
don't know.
Shigaraki was really close to using that quirk of
Yeah, I
his.
mean, he had his hand on Sue's face.
Yeah. I'm
Also,
like,
Shigaraki did bring up a good point that Midoriya did try using his full force on him.
yeah.
Which, granted, he was trying to murder a classmate, but murder for murder doesn't seem very, as they say
Uh,
in as they say in regards to Hammurabi's code, an eye for an eye makes the whole world blind.
yeah. And I don't think Midoriya was trying to attempt murder, but he was
No,
just trying to save someone, but
yeah, I don't think he
using full
wanted to
force.
kill Shigaraki, but I think it was
Full
the only
force
option he had.
probably full force probably would have killed Shigaraki though at that point.
Especially at that close range, he would have destroyed that body. Because like even
Yeah.
All Might doesn't use 100% often.
No. Like I think he says they uses like 20% usually.
Yeah, because you got to be careful.
Yeah. Like 100% is quite powerful.
Exactly.
Um, is there any like comments that you want to add about the All Might versus Nomu fight, or
Actually, I'd like to go back to the Aizawa fighting earlier. It's really cool how he uses that capture scar, kind of like a mix of Batman and Spider-Man. With like, how Spider-Man does the things where he'll slingshot himself with his webs.
mm-hmm.
It's cool seeing Aizawa do something similar in the anime.
Yeah, it's just so short in the manga that I like barely remember it.
Yeah, they don't do a lot of it, but I really appreciate Aizawa's fighting style because it's clear Aizawa is obviously trying to be inspired by Batman.
Yeah, no, I mean they're like yeah, I definitely do think like early on, like Eraserhead is probably one of the coolest heroes that we meet.
Yeah,
Even now, but
he is one of the most impressive fighters out of the group.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Let's see. Let me go through my notes because they're not really in order. I just came up with them as they came up with the idea.
you're
Um,
good.
I didn't Kaminari get any type of aiming gear until like season 3.
Honestly, I have no clue other than just his own stupidity and that he didn't think up of it.
Fair enough. He is pretty dumb.
Yeah, I'm like, he's not exactly the brightest bulb in the box.
Okay. So why did the league get notes on the teachers? What teachers would be at the USJ, but didn't think to get files on the students?
Maybe just because they. I don't know. Like, maybe they only expected the teachers to be there, but I'm just not entirely sure.
I don't know. Um. Okay, I think that's all the notes I had for the All Might fight. I have some notes for after, but
Yeah, I
uh,
mean, and having those, like, I guess because they are technically pro heroes, so they're definitely more, like, of a concern to look out for. I guess could be
Yeah.
an explanation
I
for
think
it.
it was arrogance. The only thing I can think of was just pure arrogance that they thought the kids wouldn't matter.
True, that too.
Shigaraki does seem like an arrogant boy.
Yeah. He is very much arrogant until it's shown that he needs to take a different approach.
Man-child.
Yeah. Um but yeah, and the All Might No Move fight. That was pretty good. There's a lot of like good choreography in it.
Hmm.
Especially like the one like there's one panel but also just like the one scene in the anime where it's like basically what is it? Like All Might practically German suplexes the Nomu, but like because of his like fade, like I don't know what it is, but it's like he like fades through the like floor and then
I think
retaliates.
Kurogiri was opening a portal.
Yeah, it was something
Uh,
like that. It was
I got a question. How did Midoriya not give away the secret of One for All before chapter whatever? He gave out the notes to his classmates because you know how because I counted it twice in like 5 minutes. He name drops One for All and then mentions the time limit in front of Kirishima, Bakugo, and Todoroki.
maybe that was like an anime thing because I don't think Dehaku mentions like there isn't much mention of it other than in his inner monologue.
Yeah, he openly mentions it when talking to I All Might, saying, "I use One for All for at 100," and then cuts himself off. And at the end of the fight, when uh Midoriya is just standing, when All Might is just standing there, unable to move, Midoriya mentions his time limit out loud in front of the others.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how did One for All not get released in the anime?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was just an anime thing. So yeah.
Seems like dumb boy hours.
Yeah, well, I mean, when scripting, you may overlook like some things when you're trying to put in filler.
Yeah. Is there any other notes that I had? I really do like, the ending scene where it's like, you may have heard these words before, but let me remind you what they mean. To go beyond, plus ultra, and then knocks the Nomu out of into the sky.
Yeah, no, that one's like really well done as well. Just it's also like the very much talked about shot of season one is what kind of made it popular.
Yeah, I really like that. I like when they bring back famous sayings in the show and bring them into a new light and then use them in really cool scenes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I mean it's definitely good. Like, don't get me wrong, it is definitely good. I just like a lot of people have talked about that scene before. Is all.
I imagine. It's okay, so All Might beats the snot out of the Nomu, and then
League
Shigaraki.
of Villains retreat.
Yeah, Shigaraki tries to kill All Might, gets stopped by Midoriya. They retreat. After Shigaraki gets all of his limbs shot by Snipe, who has. I got a question. What's Snipe's quirk?
I think it's just accuracy.
So he can shoot. How does it work? Like, is it a guarantee hit if he shoots something? Because like, when he saves Kaminari, Momo, and you're and Momo and Adrian's the same person, Jiro, from that guy, the electric guy in the canyon. Uh, it looks like that bullet's changing directions to move out of the way of the canyon walls. Like, is it like, can it turn to make sure it hits the target if he sees it?
I'm not too sure.
Because if so, that's a very overpowered quirk.
Because it's just also very similar to a crook that was practically just introduced in the manga.
Lady Nagant's.
Yeah.
I thought hers was just she can make a sniper out of her arm, and she was just an amazing shot.
It's the bullets that she makes that she's able to control, I believe.
Really? Because that gun arm looks like it's made out of like sinew and tissue and stuff.
Maybe it is the gun.
I think it's both.
The
I think
way
it's the gun and the bullets.
Okay, because like the way I read it, I just remember the bullets, but it may be the gun as well.
Yeah, because it's either that or she has a permanent gun arm, which could be interesting.
Yeah.
At the end of the lineup on the left, we have some man in what looks like borderline fetish gear, wearing with pink hair, and in between ectoplasm and not snipe, in between ectoplasm and cementos, we have almost a Monoma lookalike with that blonde hair and that costume.
But he has like sleep glasses on, so I wonder if it's like some sort of sleep ability, maybe.
Maybe, or that's just some weird glasses that he's wearing.
That too. It could potentially.
Also, I have had it made it point out to me that Cedric Khan, the 1B teacher, Vlad King, looks like a Goomba.
Yeah, his mouth and face do look like a Goomba.
He looks like a Goomba.
Yeah, I cannot deny that.
The only reason I know that is because some TikToker I follow simps for him, and her fan base keeps trying to, ruin it for her by pointing out what he looks like. Someone also said the bulldog from Tom and Jerry.
Hey, feel free to simp for however you like, but
Hey, at least it's an adult. At least an adult is simping for an adult.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, it's fictional characters.
It's fictional characters, but you want it to be legal.
True, but when the majority of them aren't exactly, it's a bit hard, but that's beside the point.
Yeah.
So yeah, we get the League of Villains retreat, and then we have the teachers show up and they clean up.
Yeah, no kidding.
But
I mean, it sounds like for the most part, the kids did a good job on their own.
Yeah. I definitely do think they were impressed, if not just a bit harsh, because they technically shouldn't have had to face that sort of thing.
I thought self-defense was. Oh, I thought you were saying they were shouldn't have used their quirks. So,
no,
I think it's self-defense is okay, right?
I believe so. It's just more of because they state later on that a hero's license is needed to do that sort of stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, in the regards of what you're thinking about, if it's Midoriya, Todoroki, and Ida, they kind of actively sought that out. No one was really in a self-defense situation there.
Yeah, that's true. So yeah, and then we get the after all the villains are rounded up, we get a bit of postulation on how this came about, and I believe it's here when it's mentioned that the lines were cut to the main building.
Yeah. I think they noticed pretty early on that it was only the USJ getting attacked. At least Todoroki mentions it.
Mm-hmm.
But I do find it interesting that every single teacher left main UA. What if they had ended up attacking the main campus when they were gone?
Yeah, that would have been bad. But it was definitely a focused attack.
Yes.
And I definitely I think this was they were questioning why they went about this attack, and you mentioned it earlier, why they neglected looking into the kids, I believe, or something like that.
Yeah.
Because I believe also the police shows up at this point.
Yeah, Tsukiyuchi.
And I forget, is he
our famous?
Sorry, go ahead.
He's All Might's friend. Yeah. He's All Might's friend with the potential lie detecting quirk, though I've seen arguments that he does and doesn't have it, so I don't know if he really does.
Yeah.
But most of the fandom just assumes he has a lie detecting quirk.
Yeah. And I believe he's the one who brings up that information about, because they had basically interviewed some of the villains at this point, or interrogated more of.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
And
I have an argument to make with All Might, because last time we talked about All Might not letting Midoriya tell who he wants.
Mm-hmm.
But we see that Tsukiyuchi also knows about the story of One for All.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't get it. I don't know why All Might's such a being such a poopy head about it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I kind of understand, but at the same time, like, I don't know.
He's being a hypocrite. There's no
Yeah, I'm like,
understanding about it.
if Deku trusts people enough, you should be able to entrust that secret to people. But
Plus, it's his quirk now, not yours.
yeah, I mean, I understand that, like, All Might wants to keep it on the down low. Like,
No, yeah, I get it, but
yeah. And then, I forget if this was here or not, but I believe we get, like, one scene with the League of Villains, like, planning
recuperating, yeah.
their, like,
Well, I'm not
recuperations
sure.
and, like, somewhat hinting at their next plan of attack.
I don't think it was much of a hint, just more of we get introduced to the mysterious sensei.
Yeah, yeah, that's definitely there, which is, I mean, we've kind of already brought up the character, but whatever.
Yeah, but I don't think we've made the connection between the sensei and his real identity.
Nope, not yet. So we'll just leave it at that.
One more scene that I see, it's at the very end of the episode, we see Midoriya leaving the nurse's office at night, it looks like, because it's dark out. And Ida and Uraraka are still there. And I just gotta ask, one, why did their parents not pick them up? And two, why did Yue let them walk home alone after a villain attack?
I mean, you know, I'd be nitpicky on that, but it just doesn't exist in the manga.
Yeah, you want to talk negligence on Yue? Like, they're pretty negligent, but that's just unexcusable.
Yeah, and there are just some things that like it's a good moment in the anime, but it's just also it's like one of those things when you're adding in a moment but forgetting to take into the context of everything else that's happened. I mean, you know,
Yeah,
it's not like they're the author writing these shows, so
no, but it's annoying
no, I know
because like, where's the
it's
logic?
annoying for consistency purposes, but yeah.
Yeah, it's like, where's the logic? Why would Yue let them stay that late? And why would Yue let them walk home that late
Mm-hmm.
alone?
But that's filler for you.
Filler.
Um, but yeah, and I think that just about covers it for the USJ arc.
Yeah, let me check. My notes real quick. The only other note I had was why wasn't the school on higher alert after the news break-in? They knew something was up, and
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I definitely do think they maybe had their suspicions, but just not enough time to react because basically it was like the next day that this thing happened.
I guess,
But
yeah,
that's the
maybe,
only conclusion that I can come to.
yeah. An interesting theory that Nezu's the traitor. That would be kind of interesting because Nezu hates humans and all that.
Yeah, it's just also just. I mean, I guess it would be interesting. Yeah, no, you're right. It would be interesting, especially considering he's the president. But
Yeah, the principal of the
the
school
principal,
turning and
yeah,
betraying them.
yeah. But otherwise, do you have any more, or is that about it? Because that's about all I have.
Um, that's all the notes that I wrote down.
All right. So then join us back in 2 weeks where we'll be covering the sports festival arc, which is chapters. Let's see, chapters 22 to 44 in the manga and episodes 14 to 25 in the anime.
Heck yeah.
All right. Thank you for watching. Feel free to leave a comment for any feedback, and please check out any previous videos if you're interested in our content. Thank you and goodbye.
Bye bye.